Have you ever wondered why people are so different? Like, have you ever said to your spouse or significant other, why are you so different? Or we might use different words like, why are you so weird? Or why do you do it that way? And have you ever thought that there's something wrong because people are so different? And how in the world did we all, become so different? Yeah, that's a big part of life, is just the differences in personalities and things like that. And so today I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how personalities deal with or impact relationships. We get married with people, we fall in love, there's something we really like about them, we get married, and then we get down the road and we start realizing, wait a minute, you do things really different than me, and I'm not sure I like that, or, what about this and what about that? And so this can be a real challenge in relationships. And if we don't understand, the basic components and structure of personalities, we probably would tend to take things personally, and that the way a person does something, especially if they do them really differently than you and you don't like it, and they keep doing it over and over again when you maybe tell them that you don't like it that way. And so differences can either be wonderful and celebrated and really beneficial to a relationship, or they can be really hard. And not understanding them, I think, is one of the biggest problems in marriage and other relationships, because if we don't understand what's going on, we're not going to think about it correctly. We're not going to have God's perspective. We're not going to have an intelligent or accurate perspective. We're just going to have our own feelings and reactions to what's going on. And so we need to be educated. And I don't know if you've taken the time to study different personality types. And, of course, there's a lot of different programs out there, the Myers-Briggs, the DISC tests, and the Enneagrams, and so on and so forth. There's a variety of personality assessing mechanisms out there. And so I want us to take a tour and just kind of talk about these things. So we're going to do a little mini series on personality types and how they impact our relationships. And so if you've ever, wondered, why are some people clean and when some people are messy? Why are some people always late and some people insist on being on time, like even 5 minutes early is on time? Why do some people, like people and are extroverts, and other people just want to be left alone and they want it quiet? These are very common differences between us. And again, if we, look at them like you're being strange or whatever because they're different than us, rather than understanding that, no, this is a different personality type that God has created for a specific reason. If we don't have that God perspective, we might be impacted in a negative way by people who are different than us. And we might tend to, join with others who are more like us and think that, we're all like the cool ones or the right ones or whatever. And those that are different than us, they're the weird ones, and, whatever, we don't associate with. And it can be a lack in our lives of not having people of balance and differences to help us. And then, like I said, we might in a relationship take differences personally, and we might get offended or get hurt. And, then we, start having problems because, we think the other person might be doing it intentionally, just because, they're mad at us or whatever. And we're having all these feelings and don't realize that they're just being who they are, who they were created to be. So that's a big difference. Also, there's a saying, variety is the spice of life, right? And, it's for some people particularly, they can just get in a groove. Some of us would call it a rut. And they just want the same thing over and over again. And that's their personality type. But if the whole world were like that, it would be very boring. We wouldn't make very much advancement in society. Creative things wouldn't be produced. Fun, exciting trips and different things wouldn't be created. And so variety really is the spice of life. And so we want to embrace differences, because differences are essential for a well-balanced and wholesome life. And again, thinking about it from God's perspective, the Bible, especially 1 Corinthians 12, Romans 12, Ephesians 4, talk about the different giftings in the body of Christ. And we want these different giftings because different people with different gifts will do different things. And so, some people like me, like to talk. We have, the gift of communication. And so, words are our language. And, we prefer that. I, have a friend who is, really handy, and he loves to help people. He doesn't like talking, especially on stage. And so, if he and I were to switch places, it'd be kind of awkward because he'd be put in a situation where he's not, working in his strengths, and I wouldn't be working in my strengths. And so God made us different so that different things can be done, right? Not everybody, as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 12, not everybody, is an ear, or not everybody is a mouth or a nose or a finger or a kidney. You need a certain number of those in the body, and then you need other people to be other things so that the functions can be done. You don't really want a people person doing your bookkeeping. Now, I'm not saying accountants can't be fun or can't be, good people, but they're not the kind of people that you want, tracking all the details of your accounting, right? And so, you need accountants who are detail oriented. But you also probably don't want to give your accountant the job of planning your company Christmas party, right? Because it'll be boring. Yeah, we'll all just come and we'll eat and we'll sit around and we can chat if we want to. Otherwise, we'll just kind of come, maybe have a few gifts or whatever, and go home. No, you want a people person who will throw the party and think of the fun things to do, and then the detail people and so on and so forth that will clean up and set up and do some of the mundane things. And so we need differences in our lives in order to have balance, to have different things getting done. And so we want to look into this. So join me on this little mini series that we're going to do. We want to, again, learn God's perspective on differences, and we want to learn to appreciate people and live with people who are really different. This will provide a lot of support and ultimately success for our relationships. So thanks for joining me today. I hope that you'll join me on this little journey that we're going to go on. And you can click here if you want to watch some of our older videos on some family matters, and click down here to subscribe. All right, click that bell and subscribe, and you'll get notifications, and stay tuned, and we'll be right back.